Hey, Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon might have weakness. There is cards out there to help make up for its weakness. I grew up playing this game and everything taught me about including all the people who play this card and cards has value. I don't share the same idea as you do. Nothing personal against you. I just feel that I'm looking forward as a Blue Eyes duelist. I play your video and it's valid because you can pass your power to the next level by having more Blue Eyes cards and people who find it and believing in the heart of the cards, and those with reasons to live have the true power to win. Life is not anime, my friend. If you've watched a lot of my videos, boy, it might seem like commenters, they just don't understand anything. Commenters don't understand Egyptian God cards, they don't understand Pot of Greed. What do commenters understand? Well, I don't know the answer to that question, but I do know that there are some hilarious comments already in 2019, and in today's video, I want to review some of my favorite from the past couple weeks here. This is very exciting for me because in the past, when we've done commenters don't understand videos, they almost always are based off of one of my most recent videos. In the case of today's video though, I have comments from all sorts of videos out there, and we'll start off with the old reliable Egyptian God card video. Now, if you haven't seen my past discussions about commenters don't understand the Egyptian God cards, of which I've done 2 of those videos now, the gist of that is that in general, all of the comments, or most of the comments, like 90% of them, are hidden on that video. The reason being is that when that video hit about 100,000 views or maybe 150,000 views, I turned off the comments and I made them automatically hidden. Now, the thing about that is that first off, many people don't realize what that means, because when you comment something on a video like that, you can still see your own comment. So a lot of these people think that their comments are in fact getting read by a whole bunch of people, when in fact they're only getting read by me and you guys when you see this video. But a lot of them don't realize what that means. A lot of them don't believe me because they think that they can see their own comment, and hilarity ensues. So what we're going to be looking at today, first off, is some of the hidden comments in the past couple days here, 2019, on the Why Nobody Plays the Egyptian God card video. And the reason that I do this, the reason I keep updating the Egyptian God card video in particular, is because I don't think you realize like how many comments I get on that video that are recent and are still just as like silly as the comments that I was addressing 9 months ago on that video. The first thing that I want to do is read some comments that were all left on the same exact day in a row, so you guys can sort of get the gist of what these comments normally look like, because I'm often accused of like cherry picking the bad comments, and while most people understand that's not quite what I'm doing, I just want to give you guys an idea. This would just be like an average sort of 5 comments that you might see on this Egyptian God card video, and I think you guys might get why I'm so frustrated with the comments on that video. So the first one says, "Where's the fusion of these 3 gods? They're good. People can't play it because it's too rare to get it." Well, you are sort of correct. First off, it's not a fusion. I understand kind of what you're using, but you capitalize fusions, so I think you think it's a fusion monster. It's not. Also, it's not in the TCG, so it's not worth talking about. And yeah, I believe in the OCG it is a little bit hard to get, but even if that card was out, you wouldn't see the God cards being played. A lot of people think that the God cards are just like 1 or 2 support cards away from being pretty good, and that is simply not the case, because they are just intrinsically not good cards. You have 6 cards in your first hand, not 5, and this was left because in that video I talk about how one of the issues with the God cards is that if you go first, you'll have 5 cards in your hand, 1 of them will be the God cards, and then even if 3 of them are like free special summon monsters, you're using a lot of your hand to actually just get the gods out in the first place. This very intelligent big brain commenter is pointing out that you actually have 6 cards in your starting hand, not 5. I'm assuming he left this comment because he has not played the game since 2014, although I realistically he probably hasn't played the game since like 2007. And yeah, so if you're watching this video in 2014, they made the change that you now only have 5 cards in your starting hand and you don't draw. Well, you used to always have, so you always started with just 5 cards, but the difference is that back in the day you used to draw 1 card for turn even when you went first. That simply is not the case anymore, and it's not very surprising because plenty of other games that aren't nearly as fast as Yu-Gi-Oh, like Hearthstone, also don't have a first turn draw. So if anything, Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of weird for having the first turn draw in the first place, simply because there's no like mana system or land system. You can play all your cards immediately. It sort of became unfair unfair because the person that was going first had 6 cards, person going second, at least on that first player's turn, only had 5. So if you had like 5 hand traps and your opponent had 6 cards, if you hand trap 1-for-1 trade with all of the cards, they would still have 1 more card than you. So then Konami limited it to 5 cards in your opening hand, and you don't draw going first. Actually, that was an excellent change made to the game. It makes some decks a little bit more inconsistent, but usually those decks wouldn't have been that good anyway. But in general, 5 card opening hand is what we've always had, and I think it's what we'll always have just going forward as well. Because they are basically the special tournament tribute versions, they are not the real gods. I get this comment a couple times, or every couple comments here we see comments about people saying, you know what, these aren't the real gods. The gods in the anime, those are the real gods. Those would be top tier. First off, that's not true at all, because once again, the gods in the anime, no matter how many crazy effects you put on a card, even if the card is super powerful, if it takes 3 tributes to summon and it's not a special summon, it probably won't see play. The comparison that I always give is Quillfort Towers is one of the strongest sort of god card type cards. It takes 3 tributes, and it's in a deck where they can just play 1 copy and always search it when they need to. It's in a deck that can pendulum summon a bunch of monsters. It's also indestructible, way more indestructible on the god cards, and yet that card wasn't that popular when Clifforts were around. In general, it just takes too much out of to any player to ask them to actually tribute 2 or 3 monsters, I mean, to summon a monster in the first place, especially if it's not a special summon. So I know that it might seem like the anime counterparts with their bonus effects make the god cards suddenly very powerful. It simply isn't the case. And also I think it's funny because if anything, the real life versions are the real life versions and the anime versions are the fake versions that are sort of designed for a TV show. There are plenty of other cases. I mean, I even made several videos talking about the difference between anime cards and their real life counterparts, and I don't think it's just limited to the god cards. There are plenty of cards in the game that have crazy effects in the anime, but when they come to real life, the physical TCG, they no longer have those crazy effects because I don't want to burst your bubble, but the cards in the anime are made stronger just because the anime characters need them to win the games. Honestly, not bad with graveyard decks. They're just more fun to use. This is something that I see every once in a while. You know, people that haven't played the game in a while, people that don't really play competitively, they don't really know what to call certain decks. So like, I would never say a deck is like a graveyard deck. Maybe the deck has like some strategies revolving around the graveyard, but in general, when do you hear a competitive player saying something like, oh, the deck swarms a lot, it's a swarm strategy, or when do people say it's an OTK strategy? Obviously, when you have an FTK, that's like a different category, but in general, things like graveyard decks and swarm decks are things that people say when they don't really know how to articulate what different strategies are. Pretty much every deck in 2018, even every deck in like 2014, and even a little bit before that, has some sort of graveyard interaction. That's just how Yu-Gi-Oh! Works nowadays. So saying that the god cards are good in a graveyard deck is just not specific enough. I'm assuming he means things like, well, I don't actually know because we don't know when he played last, and that's kind of the issue with these vague comments, but it's probably something along the lines of something like a grass deck where you're sending a whole bunch of cards to the graveyard, you have a whole bunch of free summons, and in fact, they're not that good in those graveyard decks because just like I said in that video 1,000 times, the god cards themselves are bricks and are only good when you're already winning. Are they more fun to use than other cards? Perhaps, but personally, I have fun doing crazy combos that actually lead to something cool, not crazy combos that lead to bad god cards. The summary is that they don't play them because they are banned from competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! No, they're not. This is like the very first thing that I wanted to mention in the original Commenters Don't Understand video. It was mostly about Winged Dragon of Ra, which is why it's a thumbnail, and also the fact that they're not banned. I don't know where this comes from. I think it comes from all the fake god cards from a while ago, like really long time ago. It said these cards cannot be used in a duel, and then the real god cards got released that also said these cannot be used in a duel. But the god cards, they're not banned. They never have been banned. They've never even been touched. And the reason they haven't been banned ever is because they're terrible, which I think if you watched that video and didn't just look at the title and comment something, you probably would have figured out why they're not too good for competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Even if you don't care about competitive Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's worth figuring out why certain cards aren't played there before you leave a dumb comment. These next two were on my phone. I saw them the other day, so they're not on the Egyptian God card video because one of the benefits of hiding the comments on the Egyptian God card videos is that they don't pop up in my Creator Studio app. That kind of shows me all the comments just in chronological order on any video that I posted. commented, which is really cool to get an idea for like feedback for future videos. But the Egyptian God card comments don't show up there, but other comments do. So this first one is from 10 Yu-Gi-Oh cards you've never heard of before, and they say, my very first tournament I got banned for bringing out Blue Eyes Ultimate by turn 5. My opponent said I had stacked the deck, but I shuffled it as well as both protectors who were assigned to see over my table. Like, did the whole bus clap too? Is that what happened? This comment, I just couldn't stop laughing when I read it. I had to share it with all my friends because it's once again the type of comment that is made by someone that doesn't play competitively to try to sound cool. Because like, well, first off, the video they left it on, it's like, what a strange thing to say. I think it's because I talked about like the Neutron Blast card and so like Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon's really bad. But that comment's just so funny because it's like everything about it is something that didn't happen at all. Like, first off, summoning Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon in general isn't very good. Summoning it by turn 5 is like really bad, and then pretending that like you got banned from a tournament because it took you 5 turns to summon a terrible card, it's just adorable. I just love comments like this that are like so, they're just so like they're so out of touch with the current Yu-Gi-Oh scape, or even what like old school Yu-Gi-Oh you wouldn't have gotten banned for that either, just for the record. Like the card was never competitive even in old school Yu-Gi-Ohs, but the people that are commenting that like don't realize that. So like, what's the strongest monster? They're like, oh yeah, I summoned Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and the judges, I mean, it was 5 turns in, but they banned me because it was too strong. No, they didn't. Why bother lying just to make it up in this video? Like, I just, why lie in a comment section with a comment that no one except I'm gonna read? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. That didn't happen. Don't pretend it did. And lastly, I've never seen the point of banning cards either. Whatever finishes the match faster, the better. I've constantly told myself when I organize my own official tournaments, well, that's an oxymoron, the only rule will be no cheating or fake cards. Want to use Pot of Greed, which lets you grab 2 cards? Go ahead. Hell, fill your deck with mostly Pot of Greed, which will let you grab 2 more cards. Most likely another Pot of Greed so you can get 2 more cards, and then Exodia the F out of your opponent. Man, what a beautiful statement. That seems like, that was probably like Konami's argument when they kept Firewall in the game. They were like, I just want whatever finishes the game as fast as possible. These comments are at least a little bit more like aware of the issue with like keeping cards like Pot of Greed in the game. A lot of people leave comments like, well, they just don't, they're not good enough to keep in like 2018 Yu-Gi-Oh! They don't quite understand that. This person at the very least acknowledges that the card is very strong. They just don't care. I did find it funny. Yeah, he's saying his own official tournament. That's an oxymoron because it's an official tournament. He's not running it, so it's his own tournament. It's not official. I don't know. I just found that funny. But yeah, I mean, what if Konami just for like 1 month said we should just get rid of the ban list just to make tournaments as fast as possible? A lot of people comment that. I mean, I haven't brought any of them for this video because that was the last comment. But a lot of people say like, what if they just did that? And despite the fact that I made an entire video talking about that, I still get comments on that video from people that didn't watch any of it, just read the title, which is perfectly fine. You're allowed to do whatever you want, but they just read the title, left a comment saying like, well, it wouldn't really change anything. Oh, think of all the decks would be viable. If you don't know, if you didn't watch the video, every single match would be an FTK. It would end in about 10 minutes. It'd be terrible for everyone involved. The only way to not lose on the first turn of a game would be drawing specifically Droll Lockbird. That doesn't sound very fun for anyone, so that's why we have a ban list. And while there are some cards, there's always going to be cards that could come off the ban list. Things like Inzectors or Winums might not be as deadly in 2019 as they used to be. In general, many of the banned cards, most of the banned spells especially, really can't come back to the game without affecting it in some way, shape, or form, and usually affecting it in a negative way. Anyway though, hope you guys enjoyed today's Commenters Don't Understand Yu-Gi-Oh video. I've been thinking for a little while here, like, do I want to do another Commenters Don't Understand? You know, it's kind of become like a meme in the comment section. I'm sure the comment section on this video will be hilarious, by the way, and I really do enjoy the channel memes. The Not a Pack Opening channel, that I was wrong about, the Commenters Don't Understand, they're pretty funny. I think it's important for a channel to have their own memes in the comment section, and I think overall what I finally said to myself is that I know that it's like a meme title now, but you guys still really seem to enjoy these videos, so I think I'm going to keep making them. Just, I like this style a little bit better, where I'm not just talking about one person or one video, I'm talking about a whole bunch of different stuff at one time. I think that's a really cool way to do it. Anyway though, I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Goodbye.